Hello everybody and welcome back to NCAA 2004, and we are back with another high-flying, high-powered matchup against the LSU Tigers. Man, the 6-3 LSU Tigers who have gotten ranked, and if you see there, they have lost their last game, their most previous game, which is ironically to Notre Dame, who we beat. But we are carrying our 32-game win streak into Baton Rouge against the 22-ranked LSU Tigers. And I haven't mentioned it. I haven't talked about the win streak, but that is breaking Sick Naben's own record of 29 games, which broke Bear Bryant's record of 28 games. So now we hold the record here at Alabama with 32 games, the longest win streak in Alabama school history and program history, which was snapped. The original record of 29 games was snapped right here against this very same team. And that was in episode 64, in part 64. It was literally over 30 episodes ago we last featured the LSU Tigers on this channel in this series, in the Bama series, because they haven't been all that great since. So since they ruined that season for us, that was year number 8, by the way, since they ruined that season. They finished that year 10-3. The following year, they would then kind of fall off and go 8-5, and then follow that up with a 5-8 year. And then they bounced back a little bit at 7-6. Not like a great season or anything, but they've been performing at least decently well in conference. They've always just kind of been playing second fiddle to us and Arkansas in the West. So that's kind of LSU's track, and that's why we haven't really focused on this game that much, because by the time I beat Arkansas, LSU's not much of a threat by the end of the season. So things might be a little bit different here. LSU's looking obviously to end the streak once again. The biggest loss in Sick Naben history, I would argue, outside of losing in the national championship game. But this one definitely had a lot of stakes on when we lost that game back in year number 8. So hopefully we can get revenge here on the Tigers in their own place here. And it's going to be difficult, but we're going to see if we can't do it, as LSU's already wasting no time setting up some of that connection through the air between Steve Kendrick, their quarterback, and one of the top receivers here, Lane Dodd Jr. There's not very many Tigers on this offense that have a lot of experience from year to year. A couple of the receivers do, but this quarterback, this is his first year starting, and he has not been having a great season of it. His touchdown INT split is amazing at 17-4, but he's only thrown for 1,800 yards. So very conservative with the football, but he's been very effective with where he's putting it. But on that play, he can't quite get it connected in the end zone. So bring out the special teams unit, and it's another fake field goal. But this time they're going to run for it, which I don't understand why. It was like 4th and 13. Probably would have been a little bit more successful if they tried to at least throw for it if they were going to fake it. But hey, man, their OC is their OC. He can do whatever he wants, I guess. He can call whatever he wants. Special teams coordinator can do whatever he wants. But we have a third down as well here, and Dre Gates going to lay this one out as he gets hit, and that pass is going to be caught by Ryan Reynolds, and he's off to the races, and of course no one's going to catch him with that much space in between him and the next closest defender, and we're going to strike the scoreboard very early on here, and LSU's got no answer for it straight up, just none early on here. They're going to have to fight here to contain this passing attack that we have here in Tuscaloosa, but Dre Gates has had one of the more polarizing quarterback seasons in a Crimson Tide uniform, coming into this game with a 20-13 touchdown INT split. So he's got over 3,000 yards. He might hit that 4,000 mark considering the Auburn game and then the SEC Championship and whatever bowl game we play. So he might get to that 4,000 mark, as most of our quarterbacks do, but he might end up doing it with close to 20 interceptions. Who knows? He's at least limited them on it in the last few weeks. But LSU finally is going to answer back with a huge touchdown pass of their own, as Kendrick is able to hit Marcus Hoffman, the sophomore running back, who's had a pretty decent season here, and that should put him just close to about 1,000 yards, if not maybe a little bit over. I mean, he was at like 928, so that probably gets him in the 970s or something like that, maybe 960s. Who knows? That was about a 40-yard pass, I believe. So he's close, though. He's eyeing 1,000 yards in this game, but those receiving yards. But either way, I'm losing my mind here, as the touchdowns are just happening back and forth as quickly as I can even narrate them, as Dre Gates is able to find Darius Van, who gets touchdown number 2 on the season. So Van with over 700 receiving yards. And I've said this in the previous 2 videos of this series, that Van and Hines have both contributed in different ways in the receiving core. It just hasn't really led to touchdowns. And that stat I just read to you kind of antithesizes all that, dude. Like 700 plus yards, only 1 touchdown, now 2. He's been receiving everything and catching everything thrown his way. Just has not been getting into the end zone. But it's still working out, so we'll take it, man. As the first quarter comes to a close, 14-7. Now Kendrick with a clean pocket around him, dumps one off to a completely wide open. How on earth do you get that wide open against this secondary, man? We've invested so much so that stuff like that couldn't even happen. How on earth was he that wide open, man? Goodness gracious, there was nobody within a mile of him. Oh my gosh. And that is Fred Bolden here, the top receiver here for LSU, just getting as much separation as humanly possible as Hines, or Van, rather, is able. I don't know why I've confused Van and Hines. I've had to write their numbers every single video. I don't know why I can't get them, I don't know why. They're like the same archetype, I guess, so maybe that's why. But speaking of Hines, he's going to get this catch here, and he's going to get a first down, and at least get us close to about the 20 here of LSU. And there you see Dre Gates off to a solid start here, but Kendrick has been the one really kind of letting it fly. LSU's had a lot more offensive opportunities, but on a 3rd and long here, Gates going to try and at least get to the sticks. He's going to dump this one off to Cliff Herman, who spins out of harm's way. That play was dead to rights behind the line to gain, but Cliff Herman spun out of it and was able to cut up field and get touchdown number 5 on the year. So another interesting part about this Alabama offense this season, being led by Dre Gates, we have spread the ball around a lot, guys. It has been spread a lot. Of course, we will focus on that more once we get to the end of year video and start going over the stats, but the ball has been spread around a lot. just keep that in mind. So on the ensuing kickoff, for some reason LSU is going to take it out of the end zone, and that's going to be a catastrophic disaster as the ball is fumbled. We got a fumble Rooski here on a kickoff, and that was caused by Nat Bentley here, one of our backup cornerbacks. He caused that fumble here. That one was scooped up, and now trying to get into the end zone and capitalize on it, maybe extend our lead and open this game up quite a bit, but LSU's defense is no siree as that pass is broken up in the end zone, so we're going to have to rely on Dave Dennis here on a 4th and 6, kicking it from the LSU 20 to try and add 3 more points, and he does. So now we're going to take a 10-point lead over the Tigers, which is a nice, comfortable lead to be in, but we cannot count LSU down here despite the holes in this roster, as they are now back on offense here late in this first half with an opportunity to add some more points, as Kendrick wants a home run ball down the middle of the field, and that one's just overshot. He completely overshot his man, Lane Dodd. And that one ends up just falling into the hands of our strong safety, Paul here. John Paul was able to get his hands on that one, the sophomore. So big play from John Paul, and now we're heading the other way here on a 1st and 10. Dre Gates is going to lay this one out to Cliff Herman, who's got some open space down the middle of the field, and he's in the end zone for another touchdown. And now Herman's got 2 of them, and that's great to see, dude. I'm happy that Cliff Herman is getting so involved in this passing game led by Gates. I was kind of worried that wouldn't happen here, but he's a junior, and hopefully he comes around for that senior season, because I'd love to see what he can do at a receiver 2 position, you know what I mean? Not even 1, just receiver 2. He could do a lot for this offense, so that's what we're looking forward to. But on the next play, or the next drive rather, LSU had to give us the ball with just under 30 seconds left to work, and already we're wasting no time finding Van along the sideline. So 1st and 10 here, 26 seconds left. Got to be smart with our time. Gates takes a throw on the run here to Ryan Reynolds, and Reynolds is going to get brought forward into the end zone. Kind of a weird and wonky play. We're going to look at this again as Dre Gates drops back. He's got to step up in the pocket, tries to avoid the linebacker, just kind of throws it on a little dart there on a line, and between 2 defenders, Ryan Reynolds able to track that ball and bring it in, and that's going to be his second touchdown of the day, and that's touchdown number 9 for Ryan Reynolds as we extend to a 38-14 point lead as this game completely gets out of hand for LSU in the last 2 minutes of the first half. But LSU will not be completely silenced as Kendrick is able to hit Dodd for another completion down the middle of the field. And that seems to be the only connection that's really working for LSU right now, as they can't really get much of anything going for this offense. And remember, I'm pretty sure the year that we lost to LSU, they had the Heisman winner at running back. He ended up going on and winning the Heisman. So this is a decorated program, and they are just kind of struggling right now to keep this game even remotely close on a 3rd and 6 as Kendrick is able to find another open target. But that target is going to be brought a little bit forward behind the line to game, but I think they're still going to give it to him. So 1st and goal here inside the 5 for LSU. They're going to try and punch this one in. Going to hand it off to the running back, Marcus Hoffman, and he's going to get in for his 10th touchdown on the season. Well, actually, I guess total touchdowns, it's probably more than that. But rushing touchdown, that's rushing touchdown number 10 for Hoffman and the Tigers offense. So they're going to try and go for 2 here, maybe make this game a little bit more manageable, I guess, try and get themselves in it as much as they can. Kendrick just tries to throw it out to Hoffman, just sails it over his head out of bounds, and so the score is going to remain 38-20, an 18-point game. LSU's got a long way to dig themselves out of this one if they even can. Later on in the 3rd quarter here on a 2nd and 16, on our own side of the field, Gates takes a huge shot downfield, and that pass is going to be caught by Reynolds once again, who's having himself a monster game. Just look at that, averaging 30 yards, almost 31 yards of reception. That is just absolute insanity. And now fast forward to a 3rd and goal, going to try and punch this one in, if at all possible. Got to give it off to Blackman. He's going to dive forward, and he's going to grab touchdown number 14 14. Another crazy stat I want to throw out to you guys. Blackmon's only had a little over 600 yards and 14 total touchdowns, and he'd probably be on a Heisman pace if it wasn't for J.C. McClintock, the fullback, who also has over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Those could all be Blackmon stats, and he would be a lock for the Heisman. But for some reason, like I said, guys, we've been spreading the ball around on this offense, and it's really been paying off, so we're going to keep doing it. But that's really kind of how we've just divided up all of our stats. So no one's going to have any stats that jump off the page to you at the end of the year, but everyone's getting a little piece of something. So, in a more shocking development, man, this game is going to end rather quickly as we completely take it to the Tigers here really just a short amount of time. The end of the second quarter and the third quarter really just kind of put this game completely out of reach as we would add another field goal late in the game to make it 48-20 over LSU. And yeah, that was, that's kind of all she wrote, man. Dre Gates did a great job protecting the football in this game. Can't be upset about that. Like I said at the beginning of the video, he's been limiting the turnovers a little bit more as of recent. And so he's starting to kind of pat himself now with this 5-touchdown performance today. That should get him at 25-13. So that's a good split, man. But I said to you guys earlier where it's almost like, or maybe that was in the Raiders series with Tim Couch. It's almost like we're doing, 2 touchdowns or 1 interception for every 2 touchdowns. And maybe Dre Gates is going to get to that pace as well. So a lot of turnovers here from our quarterback, but he's still having a great season. And we are extending our win streak to 33, but now it extends to 34 as we beat Auburn as well, win the Iron Bowl again for the millionth time. And that finishes another 12-0 perfect regular season, and that's going to bring us into the conference championship game against South Carolina. We're finally going to play South Carolina. I think there's only like 2 teams in the SEC that we haven't played, and it's South Carolina and Florida. And now we are going to be playing South Carolina in the SEC championship with a chance to go to another national championship, carrying a 34-game win streak, record-setting. So I hope to see you guys in Atlanta once again as we take on the Gamecocks of South Carolina.